Awesome, Mark. Let's get started, dude.
Let's do it, brother.
And as the stragglers come in from probably being stuck in the chair, usually that's what happens. More people come in a little bit later as at this time of the day. Awesome.
Ironic that people sing a webinar called "Escape the Chair" because they're stuck at the chair.
Yes, it's going to be an excellent webinar. I am so pumped to be here with you, Mark, and have all of our friends in the industry hanging out with us here for this evening. Today we're going to be talking about escaping the dental chair and increasing your income. I think it's a really, really important topic, and it's been fascinating to me ever since I've been in dentistry, helping practices achieve this. And I love everything that Mark discusses on his podcast and just in general. I think it's really good for practice owners to hear what Mark has to say. So this is the agenda today. I'm going to go first. I'm going to be talking about building a six-figure membership program, right? And then we're going to switch over to Mark, and he's going to talk about his experience on escaping the chair. And we just did a podcast, I think, was it last week, Mark? And
Mhm.
I always love just picking your brain. Well, just business in general. It's always beneficial for me, as well as our audience. So let's get started here.
Let's do it, my friend. And
Okay.
I feel the same, by the way. You are a wealth of knowledge when it comes to all things business. We could dork out for hours,
I
which
mean,
is
we
usually
have, which is the fun thing. Awesome. We'll leave this going. So I'm going to be talking about building a six-figure membership program. This is an excellent way to help you escape the chair. I got so many stories I want to share. I got to keep track of my time too, so I don't gobble it all up because I tend to be a talker. So here we go. Mark, hold me accountable to the
okay.
time.
Okay.
Okay, so
The 45 cards now. Go.
yeah, there we go. So my name is Jordan Comstock. I'm the founder and CEO of a company called Boom Cloud. I've been in the dental industry for a long time. Grew up, my dad owned a dental lab, grew up in the dental industry. My mom's an office manager. I swear I have monomer in my veins. A little weird, but growing up in the dental lab family, you see a lot of a lot of dental chemicals that you're dealing with. I managed the dental lab for about 8 years, and then I left to start my company, Boom Cloud, which is a software platform that helps practices create, organize, and scale membership programs. I do a lot of podcasts. I'm on the Say No to PPO's podcast, the Insurance Untangled podcast, and our own Boom Cloud podcast called the Automatic Patient podcast. I hate dental insurance, and I've helped over 1,000 practices grow membership programs successfully over the years. It's one of my passions. I love teaching practice owners about this revenue stream. I literally talk about it all the time, and it drives my wife nuts. Speaking of that, I am a dad of all girls. There's my wife and my three girls. They're absolutely so fun to hang out with. My oldest daughter there up top next to me, she is a fellow entrepreneur and she owns a claw machine business. So she really understands passive income and recurring income, which we'll be talking a lot today on my presentation. So that's my family. It's kind of crazy. I used to say even the dog's a girl. We finally got a boy dog. So there we go. All right. So I love starting out with this quote. Napoleon Hill is one of my favorite authors. Read his book a ton of times, Think and Grow Rich, to help me start my own company and to go through all those challenges. So I want to start out with my message. Whatever your mind can conceive and believe it can achieve. I'm going to be showing you some pretty incredible case studies in regards to scaling membership programs. Often practices are like, oh, that's not true, or I can't do that. But the truth is you can. And I'll show you how. Nice, Mark. Your three boys are hanging out with us today.
Yeah. All
Sweet.
three.
Awesome. Earnings disclaimer. I'm going to talk about a lot of earnings. So not everyone's going to be successful. That's the truth. But if you put in the work, you will be successful. So I always like showing that. So people are like, you told me I could do this. And well, you can, but you got to put effort in it too. So my new opportunity is, who's this for? General practice owners, pediatric dentists and owners, perio practice owners and office managers and consultants. We'll welcome all the consultants. This is not for my presentation is not for oral surgeons, endodontists, and ortho, but of course, what Mark teaches, you'll gain benefit there if you're one of those. So let me show you. We're going to talk membership plans. I'll get to the details of that. This is what happened to Riverwood Dental after they attended my webinar last year. They now have 687 active membership patients paying $24,200 $220 in monthly recurring revenue. And I'll get down to the definition of a membership program, but think like Amazon Prime, but for your practice that you offer your patients, right? They pay a subscription to get some benefits, and we'll get into all the nitty gritty, but I always like starting off with this. This is an awesome case study. Whether this dentist comes into the office, he's generating 24 grand every month, you know, which is pretty amazing. And this is why I love it, right? So the goal of today, our presentation, is to really teach you guys how to create recurring revenue in your practice. And we know with all of our data that BoomCloud is one of the software platforms that can help you do this flawlessly. We do this a lot. This is what I'm obsessed with. Every day I come into my office and we're helping practices escape the chair by building recurring revenue. So let me tell you a little bit about my story. My background, I said, was in the dental lab. I used to manage my dad's dental lab. This is it in Salt Lake City, Utah. I was in an old house, but it started in 1906. We had a big issue there. We did not have recurring revenue. It was really hard to run a business when it's feast and famine, right? And it caused a lot of trouble for us as business owners. And the trends follow dentistry, right? There's September, there's April, I know is a tough month sometimes. The end of the year can be tough, right? There's feast and famine moments in dentistry. And at the dental lab at the time, when I was there managing it, it became really challenging to manage to the point where I almost lost my house. It was scary. So I left to start BoomCloud to, you know, not only help myself create recurring revenue, but to help other practice owners, right? So I was there for 8 years managing the feast and famine model is what I call it. And we did not have recurring revenue. It was the most painful thing. And it was in the middle of like the 2008 recession. It was a joke. I read this book called The Automatic Customer, required reading for those interested in creating recurring revenue. And this book inspired me to create BoomCloud to help others create subscription or recurring revenue in their businesses. So go grab this book on Amazon. I would imagine like 80% of people have Amazon Prime. So after 10 years of running,
that guy was on my podcast.
Cool guy. Did you have John Warlow? Yeah, he's awesome. Or
he's a
Mark,
really nice guy.
If you have the episode, put the episode on your podcast and share that. That'd be great. Yeah, he's a smart guy. He's a great inspiration for me in my company and what we're helping dentistry with today. So after 10 plus hard years, I discovered the hard way, right? Not having recurring revenue. So we're going to talk about the easy way, right? We're going to talk about why practices struggle, what I see in the industry. And really, if you're struggling, you probably have too many PPOs that are cutting your profits out, and that continues to get worse and worse over time. You don't have a framework for recurring revenue. And a lot of the times, practice owners don't have business or marketing training. So it becomes really hard to manage that, your asset, right? Your business. So we're going to talk about reducing dependence on PPOs through membership programs and driving that recurring revenue. So this is why I don't like insurance companies. They themselves have an excellent business model for themselves, but went to the multi-sided market of their model, which is practice owners. It's not very good. They attack your cash flow, they hurt your profit margins, and they jeopardize your patient experience. And I did an analysis a few months ago and found that the average practice writes off in a career of dentistry $16.8 million. They write it off. And I often ask, what could you use that for? Could you reinvest into your practice? Could you get a recurring revenue model going or in a marketing engine going? Can you reinvest into your own retirement better, right? This is a huge deal in our industry. And I think most of us, it's kind of like the invisible killer in practices. Mark, I'm sure you see this, where you don't see you see the write-offs, but you won't really feel it from a cash flow perspective. But it's there. It's the invisible killer of cash in a dental office is kind of how I recognize that, right? So the hard way, working with too many PPOs, not having a membership program or manually managing one and not scaling it, not automating your subscriptions. These are very common issues I see when it comes to generating recurring revenue. And then not having a marketing or a marketing program for existing and external patients to grow your membership plan. So I'm going to spend the next few minutes here to talk about how you build a membership plan and how I think about these and how we've helped thousands of practices across the nation. So a membership program is an alternative to dental insurance managed by your practice. So it's your plan. where patients pay a monthly automated subscription or a yearly automated subscription to get access to certain benefits and savings to your practice. Like I said, very similar to Amazon Prime. There's a reason why these big companies are doing a subscription. So if you have Amazon Prime, put A in the chat. If you have Amazon Prime, put A in the chat, and we'll do a little poll here. So if you have Amazon Prime, put A in the chat. After you joined Amazon Prime and you realize you spent more with Amazon, put a $sign in the chat or multiple $signs. If you're like me and my wife, we get a package on the porch every day. Yep, Jake, you're one of those people. I can see that. So this is called expansion revenue or expansion selling. It's why Costco does it. It's why Amazon does it. Taco Bell has a membership plan now. As crazy as that sounds.
Do they really?
They
No
really
kidding.
do. Yeah. When they launched it, they made $1 million in recurring revenue like the first month, and it continues
No
to
kidding.
grow. Yeah. Kind of crazy. But when people join your membership program, they end up spending more. We all just rose our hands and said, I spend more after I joined Amazon's membership program. So people spend more. And it's a really awesome. We found in dentistry that practices or patients spend 3 times more when they become a member, meaning they say yes more to treatment. So it's not only just a recurring revenue tool, it's a case acceptance tool or a revenue expansion tool is kind of how I use it. So the reason why we like membership programs in the practice is because it creates a patient loyalty system. It generates that predictable recurring revenue for your practice, smooths out those feast and famine months, which we all hate. September is the worst. Increases the valuation of your business, your practice, because of that predictability, which is one of my favorite parts. I love what I call enterprise value, right? Or value, business value. Helps you reduce dependence on PPOs because you can start dropping PPO plans and converting those patients to your membership plan. Reduces patient cancellations because patients now, they commit with their wallet, right? They don't commit by saying, yeah, I'm going to show up. They commit with their wallet. And then, like I said, members buy 2 to 3.5 times more. So that's why we want to create membership plans. This is an example of a membership program. What we see in the industry now, pricing varies in location, right? Where your practice is located. And we do look at like income demographics. But this is an example plan. For those of you on the webinar who say yes in the chat if you have a membership program. Other ideas that drive revenue that we're seeing in the industry are creating unlimited whitening membership plans. These are becoming really popular. In fact, there's practices now that only do whitening membership. And there's a 15 location practice just here in Utah. That's where I'm at. And they're just a whitening business that's subscription only, right? There's perio membership plans. There's discount only membership plans. There's pediatric plans. And I forgot to add on here, now there's Botox membership plans in dentistry that practices are doing. Right? Which is a huge money maker. That I think they average $165 a month for Botox plans. So if you're into that, if you've got like a dental spa, that's a really awesome offering. And right now, one of the fastest growing industries is like Botox in the market here. All right, here are some of the frameworks that I'm doing. How am I doing on time, Mark?
I have 11:37. You're in.
Okay. That I'm in 11 minutes?
Yeah, you're in 11 minutes and 43 seconds.
All right, cool.
45.
Cool. Some of the frameworks that I like to talk about, I will not be able to get to all of them today on this webinar. These are the frameworks of success. I've been helping practices run membership programs for a long time now. And these are my kind of 4 areas of focus. Number 1, I call it revenue hacking. You want to figure out how to drive recurring revenue from your existing patients. I was recently in Chicago midwinter, and we went out to dinner with a bunch of influencers in the industry and speakers and consultants and DSO people. And I sat next to a really big name in the DSO space, which I was so fascinated. I love picking brains. And I asked this person, I said, hey, tell me like, what's the biggest thing in dentistry right now that we need to be focusing on as practice owners, right? He's like, you can increase same store growth, meaning if you can expand your existing patients, like the revenue you generate from your existing patients, that's the most important thing right now, instead of like expanding locations, because it's really costly to expand locations right now with interest rates and all what's going on in the economy. So how I think about this is it's expanding revenue from your existing patients. Most practices have uninsured patients that are just sitting dormant in the practice, or inactive patients that are dormant. And by launching a membership program, you can turn those types of patients into a revenue stream. Now, I do talk a lot about the practice benefit, revenue, right? But the beautiful thing about membership programs is that it helps more patients get more treatment at a great deal, right? Patients love it on that side. It's a win-win. Where insurance, when you think of the insurance model, it's like kind of a win-lose-lose. Insurance wins, practice loses, patient loses, because it's so complicated, and it's really just an investment firm, right? If you think about how insurance works, it's just like an investment agency. All right, so revenue hacking. Start with your existing patients. Number 2, reward hacking. This never is talked about in this space in dentistries. You need to have a mechanism to be able to help reward your employees, your team members, when they sign up membership patients, right? We have some stats that I'll show you guys here in a little bit, that the practices that figure that out and share the growth are winning like month over month in regards to like membership and recurring revenue growth. So we call that reward hacking. Pricing demographics, understanding the market you're in and who you're targeting is super critical to be able to understand how to price your membership program effectively for mass adoption. And then 4 is what I call growth hacking, which is attracting small business owners and their teams to join your membership plan. That is the most effective way to grow. So we're going to talk about a couple of these. I'm going to lightly touch on, but I can literally spend a half a day on each of these topics. There's a lot. Okay, so revenue hacking, best way to grow your business, expand revenue from existing patients. I call it ARP, average revenue per patient, or same store growth is a more technical term, right? At the dental lab, we did this we would get like a Crown and Bridge client, and we would expand them into a denture client. So they would send dentures to us and crowns. So just to give you some context of other businesses, how it works, right? But expansion from existing patients also reduces your patient acquisition costs. I don't think anybody talks much about this in the industry as well. It costs money to acquire new patients, and there's payback periods and all that. You can get real technical with it. I'm sure, Mark, you in your live events, you go into depth on all this type of topics in dentistry. But when you can say that again.
Customer acquisition cost is a big topic for sure.
It's a big topic, and it is for me too, like as a business owner. No matter who you are or what industry you're in, customer acquisition costs are definitely a very important metric to be tracking. But when you can expand revenue from your existing patients, number 1, you've probably already paid back your acquisition costs, and now it's just pure profit. So that's why it's the smartest strategies to expand existing patients, right? So I'll take a little break. Here's another case study from Pines Dental. After they invited their existing patients to enroll. Missing some of the data in my screen. So after I think 6 months, they signed up 400 patients to their membership program, which generated $14,873 in monthly recurring revenue. Wow. Or just under $200,000 in annual recurring revenue. How would that change your practice? Like, the cool thing about this, like, these are snapshots in time. These guys are still growing. It's so cool, right? Snapshots in time, like, oh, cool. When we took this snapshot, this is where they were. Like, that's pretty awesome. You can cover a lot of overhead. You can say, well, all the revenue from my membership program is going to go reinvest into technology. Maybe we need to go get that CERAC machine, and the membership program can pay that payment, right? There's a lot you can do when it comes to reinvestment strategies with membership programs. Oh, these guys are one of my favorites. This is Ala Moana in Hawaii. After they implemented the reward hacking method or framework, they scaled their membership program super quick. I think they add roughly between 80 to 100 members a month. So call it six-ish months. And they were able to scale the 619 active membership patients, just under 15 grand in monthly recurring revenue. These guys do a discount plan, so their pricing is a little bit lower than the average market doing a traditional membership program. Mark, I think your practices used to do a discount plan. I remember talking to you on your podcast on that a while back.
Yeah. We were discount. And it's really cool. You can do a couple fun things with a discount plan because there's no prepaid services. So
Yes.
like we had a separate LLC for our discount plan that was named
Mm,
something separate from practice. So we used it truly as, um, kind of an alternative income source, passive income source.
yes.
And that thing would accumulate money in it pretty quickly because it wasn't getting paid out and there was no services to render for the membership cost. So, at the end of the year, you have, six figures just sitting in an account that just kind of continues to compound. And that's a fun way to do it as well.
Yeah. And you can go what to at the end of the year, go to the next dental conference and go buy equipment or whatever with it, right?
Whatever you want to do with it.
Whatever you want, or a yacht, whatever. Choose your own adventure.
That's right.
This is another case study of a practice. Alamo Ranch Dental, 149 patients in like 2 months after they struggled with their income, their demographics, and we helped them adjust their pricing that made way more sense to the people that they were targeting. And just like that, they were able to sign up patients because you got to know those demographics in your area. We had years ago, I helped the practice kind of unbottleneck his pricing because he was in a low income, high poverty market. But he's like, well, I'm going to just charge $300 a year for my membership program like everybody else does. And nobody signed up. And I said, Doc, like, let's look at these demographics and see what's going on. And then maybe you just need to offer a cheaper discount plan that allows them to get in. And sure enough, he changed his plan pricing and made it a discount plan, and boom, started signing up patients. So there's little tricks like this that you need to figure out that nobody really talks about. The last framework that I like to talk about is our B2B marketing. Like, this is so critical. Over half the United States does not have dental insurance. It's kind of wild. It's a great opportunity for practice owners, in my opinion. But we recommend going out and identifying, this is our proven process here, identifying an industry. Here's my targeted industries on the side here. You can see that we think are really good candidates. Business size below 50, below 50 employees, call it 49 and below is usually the target market, right? You want to identify the leaders of the business, email them, reach out, do a visit campaign is what we call them. We bring cookies and talk about your membership plan and offer it to all their employees, right? I call this a one-to-many strategy in regards to getting patients, right? A good friend of ours, Gary Takis, for his membership program, I think he put a LinkedIn ad out there about his membership plan, and one of the days he got a business owner calling and asking about their membership plan, and literally signed up that day and wired Gary and his practice like 25 grand in annual recurring revenue. So Gary always talks about that story. It's always fun hearing that from other practices that are targeting businesses. So case study here. This is a practice that did that. They use direct mail marketing not only to target like the 55 and up communities. That's a really good space too, because they lose their dental benefits, but they also target small businesses. After 2 years, this practice here, who is this Dental Arts, signed up 1,740 active membership patients, which equates to just under 50,000 in monthly recurring revenue, whether you do dentistry or not. Kind of wild and really cool. Most of these case studies that we're showing are single location practices. That's the beautiful thing about this strategy. You don't have to be a large DSO to leverage this type of business model. And most people think that this business model is just a kind of a side thing, right? Like, oh yeah, I'll just have it. But I'll show you here, when practices focus this on as a core strategy, it really pans out well. Oh, I thought my next slide was going to show that. But so we know systems help you scale, right? We looked at practices that had a manual membership program. They were managing it manually, right? Which is great. I always encourage people to start that way. Once we gave them a system called Boom Cloud, after a year, we looked at all these practices, and these are various sizes of practices, small to large. And we saw that the growth, because they had systems, marketing systems, and a platform to manage the membership program with Boom Cloud, they grew rather quickly, right? Because it's easy. It's easy when you have systems and processes in a dental office. So that's kind of a cool little case study we did several years ago. Here's the slide that I was expecting. When you focus on a membership program as one of your core strategies, you can build a really awesome, robust revenue machine for your practice. This is a $1 million membership program, a practice out of Texas that has 2,410 active patients, generating 84,000 in monthly recurring revenue, or a little over $1 million in annual recurring revenue. This is pretty sweet. Now I looked at, again, this is a snapshot in time. They're now over 3,000 active membership patients. They're crushing it, right?
Wow.
And this is just such a cool story, because when I started Boom Cloud, Mark, years ago, I mean, you met me when I started.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. We were both on the come up together, man. We were
yeah, totally,
young
dude.
personality.
I never thought that this would help practices achieve this type of scale, right? Which is like, I just geek out about this, right? These guys use a lot of great marketing, right? They target small business owners. They target the 55 and up communities in their area. They're talking to every patient about it. They're reducing their dependence on PPOs and converting those patients over within their practice, and optimizing that revenue. If you remember earlier, I said one of the key strategies now today in this economy is to optimize your current revenue in your practice, right? And a membership program just does that. Whether this practice owner goes into the office or not, he's generating $1 million a year. He can go to Hawaii, my favorite place, and go hang out and know that revenue is coming in, right? If something bad happens, he gets sick, revenue is still coming in and providing for the practice. It's a very essential strategy, in my opinion, for practices. So I'm just going to show you guys a quick demo before I move to Mark. How am I doing? How am I doing on time, Mark?
You're straight up 25 minutes in.
Sweet,
Good,
cool.
man.
Yeah. I talk fast, so we can crush it.
You're crushing it, brother.
Sweet. All right, so I'll give you guys a quick demo of how my slide early was how to set up a membership plan in 10 minutes. This is how you do it, right? You sign up into Boom Cloud. We give you a dashboard that tracks all of your metrics. So these screenshots I've been showing you this time, it's our dashboard. Yes, I like the color pink. You can shame me behind your computer screen. My quick story on that, my daughter, my 9-year-old daughter, she like I said, she's interested in being an entrepreneur, which is so fun. And she was interested in the internet and how it works and how we created Boom Cloud. And I pulled up our website. I'm like, hey, this is how you kind of create things on the internet. And I showed her how to change the button color on our website. And she chose this pink. And I fell in love with it. And I'm like, I'm putting that all over my website because it's so cool. And it's just like, if you look at everyone else's websites, I like the bright, fun colors. So anyways, thanks to Lennon, my daughter, she chose that pink color. So you guys get to see that when you log into our software every day. This is our dashboard. We track everything. We even have an updated credit card decline tool, meaning if a patient's card declines, we have a connection to like all the card companies that's talking back and forth. And it's like, oh, this credit card expired. When you issue a new credit card, we'll take it and automatically update it in the subscription for the membership plan. So it's kind of fun technology. We got other cool stuff. We got like a national leaderboard that shows you who's growing the fastest with their membership program. So you can have a national competition. It's kind of fun. People like that. We have a plan creation section where you can go in. You can literally click this button right here and add a plan in your practice and customize it in like 2 seconds. Right? It's so easy. We have Botox plans, whitening plan templates that you can just go and click and be like, cool, I want to offer all these types of membership plans. Boom, bam, bing. We're rocking and rolling. Right? The minute you sign up for Boom Cloud, there's an online, we create a landing page that allows you to connect that landing page on your practice website that allows your patients to sign up online without talking to people. So you can do text campaigns, email campaigns, or if you're using a marketing company to drive traffic and leads and business to your website, they can easily find it and sign up online. And we track that too. You're able to see in our dashboard here. You can see in this screen here, it says in office or online signups. So you can be able to see who's coming in where, right? We have a member admin section. I'm sure you guys, are calling insurance companies and waiting on hold for like 45 minutes to do insurance verification. It's kind of ridiculous. With membership patients, all you do is log into BoomCloud and it takes you 2 seconds to come in and see if they're active or inactive, right? Or if there's a pending issue with a credit card that you can fix beforehand. So that's how you manage the members when they're active patients. We have a reward section. This is how you set up kind of the reward tracking for your employees. So how I would do it is, put all your employees your team members in this feature of our product and I like doing rev shares or like bonuses, right? Assign a revenue amount, call it like, I don't know, 10 bucks per patient sign up or whatever. You can create your own type of program. We do help with that, but 10 bucks per patient sign up, and you have a contest with all your team members, and whoever signs up the most gets a nice little bonus check at the end of the month, right? So we have that system. Nobody else does that, which I think is wild in the industry. We have what we call the patient marketplace, where when you sign up for BoomCloud, we put your practice on our marketplace, and we're constantly driving new patients to the marketplace and finding new patients automatically, right? And then driving them to sign up for your membership program. So it's kind of fun. It's a new thing that we just launched recently that a lot of practices are liking. So in the chat, let me know who's ready to start and grow a membership program. In the chat or in private chat with one of my team members, I got Cade from my team on here. Talk about if you're ready. I got an awesome offer that we're going to give for hanging out with me and Mark on this webinar. And I know, Mark, you have got an offer for DSN as well. But let me just walk through and talk about my offer real quick before we switch over to you, Mark. So this is what we're going to get. So we've got a lot of cool things in BoomCloud. What you're going to get is our revenue dashboard, our plan builder, our member management functionality of our tool. You're going to get all the automated billing for your subscriptions. So you don't have to think about it, worry about it. Comes with payment reporting, allows you to track all payments, understand all subscriptions, because subscription revenue is a different type of revenue. If you read the automatic customer, it'll teach you how to think about that, because it is a different type of business model that you got to think about. We have opportunity reporting, where we integrate in your practice management system and allows us to find your uninsured patients and your inactive patients and do text message campaigns to get them to sign up immediately for your membership program. There's payment plan. We have a payment plan feature in our software that allows you to set up, like, if Mark was my dentist and I go to his practice and I'm a membership patient, I'm like, hey, I don't want to do financing, or I can't do financing for some reason, but I'm happy to make a payment plan every month. You can do that for treatment. You get the team rewards tracking functionality in our software, so you can reward your team and you can grow that membership program like Ala did. We integrate right into the bank, so all the revenue just goes right to the practice. We don't keep anything. We're not an insurance company. We're a software tool that helps practices grow recurring revenue and membership plans. You get the website integration, the online patient sign up, and a dedicated customer success rep that will be your strategist. We call them our practice advisors. They will help you do everything from creating your membership plan strategy to your go-to-market strategy, right? When you sign up today too, I'm going to give you the free membership university, the $1 million membership course, where I walk you through how to grow $1 million membership program, the patient marketplace listing for free, and my B2B marketing course that we're going to give. So a lot of value there. Typically, if you were to pay for all this or manually do it, you're going to pay like $4,000 a month to manually do all this and to learn it on your own, right? Today, if you sign up for BoomCloud, it's going to be $1 for the first month, technically free. That's because inflation. The new free is $1 with inflation. And then after that, it's $347 a month. I'm going to paste the link here to sign up. If you're ready to sign up on the chat, there's a link. You can sign up and get that offer. I have a ton of case studies and testimonials that you can listen to on that page. And if you have questions or need one-on-one, Cade, send the round robin link. I'm talking to one of my employees now that's on the webinar. Send the round robin link, Cade, in the chat so people can schedule with the team, or just chat in and say you're interested and want to talk to a one-on-one person to answer, if you have questions that I'm not answering here, because I usually go through this really fast. So that is my offer. Once again, you get BoomCloud for the first month for $1, or free if you look at inflation. And then it's $347 a month after that. And we really help you scale your membership program. You only need 10 patients to break even. And my team works with you on that. We have a 10 patient guarantee in the first 60 days when you launch with Boom Cloud. So that's your break even point. Once you get there, you can scale it beyond and our team helps you there. So that is my presentation. I hope you guys found a lot of value hanging out with me today. Mark, let's switch to you, dude. Did I do good on time,
Good job,
bro?
man.
Thanks.
33 minutes and 26 seconds. You crushed it, brother.
Sweet. Yeah, I did it. Yeah, we'll have some time after. All right, I'm going to stop my share and
Oh,
you can share your screen now.
okay. I'm just going to figure out how to. All right, let's do this. Okay. So here, guys, just a little bit about me. I didn't do like a fancy intro slide or anything like that.
You don't need
My
to,
name
dude.
is everybody should, but I neglected. But just a little bit about me. I'm Dr. Mark Costas. I graduated Marquette Dental School in 2002. Since or in that period of time, from 2002 until April of 2023, I either started or acquired 16 dental practices. At that same time, I would say, let's see, 2012, fast forward to 2012 or rewind to 2012, either way you want to look at it. I created a coaching group called the Dental Success Institute. After about 10 dental practices, people started asking me to get up on stages and talk about multiple practice ownership, decreasing overhead, increasing systemization, becoming a stronger leader, those sorts of things, the things that I love talking about. From that, DSI was born. Now DSI has about 220 private clients from 44 different states all over the United States, a couple in Canada and a couple from Europe. But what we really impress is how to do exactly what we're talking about today. For many people, success equals doing and practicing dentistry on their own terms. So for a lot of people, that is decreasing the amount of clinical time that they are obligated to do. Some people love clinical dentistry, but it is a lot more fun, I will say, when clinical dentistry and slogging it out with a handpiece in hand, rheostat underfoot, becomes optional. And you can see the type of patients that you want to see. You can eliminate dental plans that are not providing the reimbursement that you want, and all the liberties that come along with being able to call the ball and practice on your own terms. I also am the founder of the Dental Success Network. We'll talk a little bit about that coming up. The Dental Success Network is about 1,400 licensed dentists. It's a three-legged stool, I like to call it. We have an incredible, vibrant community of over 20 chat rooms and 20 faculty members that man those chat rooms, anything from IV sedation to oral surgery to pediatric dentistry, endodontics, anything clinical, all on X, prosthodontics, anything that you can think of clinically, plus a big element of practice management and personal development in there as well. That's one of the legs of the three-legged stool. We also have the largest GPO, which is a buying group in dentistry. We've partnered up with Synergy Dental Plans, Synergy Dental rather, and we, with Dental Success Network, preferred vendors, and Synergy have an enormous buying group. If you look at those 1,400 dentists inside DSN, we have a collective revenue of about 1.6, $1.7 billion, and a lot of very, very high level practices. With that comes a lot of attention from vendors. So we are able to take that leverage and negotiate very, very good prices for our members inside of the network. And then the third leg of the three-legged stool is we have a huge continuing education library where we have videos and trainings and resources, a document vault that everybody that is a member of DSN has complete access to. That's DSN. Many of you, maybe, hopefully, have listened to my podcast, which was born in 2015, June. We are the largest dental podcast now with over 10 million downloads, 1,930 episodes. We get anywhere between 8,000 and 12,000 unique listeners per day. It's a 5-day-a-week podcast. We're in 151 countries. Additionally, I am the co-founder and co-owner of Colorado Surgical Institute, where we have people travel from all over the world, and we teach them how to do advanced surgical procedures, including all on X, digital workflow, wisdom teeth removal, um, lateral sinus lifts. We now have a brand new IV sedation course, Colorado Surgical Institute. And my final and most rewarding chapter of my dental career so far is Smile Outreach International, which was born last year. The goal of Smile Outreach International is to put fixed clinics throughout the third world. We go on a minimum of 3 international mission trips per year. We just got back from Tanzania. Incredible organization that takes people that are willing to give back and share the gifts of their education, their clinical education, and provide care for people that need it all throughout the world. So that's what I'm up to. I'm also the author of 4 books: Pillars of Dental Success, the Dental Practice Startup, Dental Practice Acquisitions Manual, and the Dental Operations Manual. So that is me in a nutshell. So sorry I didn't have a slide, Jordan, but that's me in a nutshell. This is
You're
me.
good, dude.
This is Thanks, bro. Thank you. This is me. Jordan was asking, geez, is that you in those x-rays? Yes, this is me. I have a plate and 4 screws at C7T1 in my neck.
Hey, Mark, I don't think we're seeing
Unfortunately,
the slide deck.
you're not?
No, I'm not at least. Is it everyone seeing the slide deck? Yeah, not yet.
Jordan says they're not deck. Jordan says they're not seeing the slide deck. So
Meanwhile, what's the best dental joke you've ever heard in your life, Mark?
I only have one dental joke, but it's at the expense of hygienists.
Well, I think
So
most
should I
office
say it?
managers
Hold on,
don't do
let's
it.
try this.
Ashley said,
Can you
"Don't do
see
it."
that?
All right, Ashley, thanks for keeping us accountable.
Can you see that now, Jordan?
Yes, I can see your neck.
Okay. All right. This is my neck. Look at the bone structure on that guy, huh? Okay.
Yeah, dude.
Okay. C7T1. We're back to my story. C7T1. This is unfortunately a very common occurrence for clinical dentists that have been doing it for a period of time. I also played college football and was involved with a lot of, I guess you could call them combat sports, wrestling and MMA and kickboxing, etc. So a lot of trauma to the head and neck area for me growing up. And then I decided to become a dentist, which is probably the hardest thing on your head and neck. So about 8 years into my career, I started experiencing numbness, tingling, and weakness in my left hand and my left fingers. Went into my good friend's office, who is an orthopedic spine surgeon. He took an x-ray and it was determined that I needed to have a spinal fusion at C7T1. This was because I had a bulging disc at this level. This experience was very, very enlightening because the average recovery time for something like this is between 4 and 6 weeks. You're supposed to be out of the dental chair, not producing dentistry or doing anything clinically for 4 to 6 weeks. I also have a back surgery on my lower vertebrae at L5S1. So 2 back surgeries. In a total of 2 total back surgeries, I took a total of 9 days off. And it should have been closer to, I don't know, let's see, 4 to 6 weeks. It should have been closer to 8 to 12 weeks off for 2 back surgeries. I took a total of 9 days off. And it's not because I'm Superman. It's not because I'm stubborn and I had to get in there and show everybody that I can recover faster than the normal mortal. Well, that was part of it. But the big reason that I didn't take the sufficient amount of time off was because I did not have a systemized dental practice. I was the bottleneck in my own dental practice. So if you can imagine, I was a multiple practice owner at the time. I didn't have a practice that could run without my presence. And it was after that experience that I recognized that I needed to change a lot about the way that I practiced dentistry and the way that I ran my businesses. I indeed was the person that the entire multiple practice group evolved around. I didn't have an organizational chart in place. I didn't have a good leadership team in place. I did not delegate well. And I didn't have somebody that could step in and produce for me at my level if I was going to be out for a 2-month period of time. So I went about after this experience to create a different type of practice. And I changed my group completely and I turned them into more of a systemized dental practice, a systems dependent dental practice instead of a human dependent, owner dependent dental practice. And that's what I'm going to talk a little bit more about today. Okay, so I broke this down into some like really tactical steps here. This comes after 21 years of clinical experience, 21 years of dental practice ownership. And I don't say that to brag, 16 dental practices and coaching over 1,000, individual practice owners over the years. I've learned a lot about dentistry. I've learned a lot about through all the mistakes that I've made. I think that if you are able to learn and reflect from your obstacles, mistakes, and failures, then those could be the greatest gift in your professional career. So I've made lots. And there's lots of common themes. When you work with people throughout the industry for a long period of time, you start to see a lot of common themes. And I'll talk about some of the common themes and how to avoid some of the obstacles that most dentists encounter on their ownership journey. So let's talk about these 7 steps to escape the dental chair. Now, I got to start off by saying that dentistry is a lot more fun when clinical stuff and clinical work becomes optional. I'm not implying to anybody that the ideal scenario is for you to stop being a clinical dentist. Most of us have spent a good portion of our lives, if you go from, pre-dental to dental, many people have gone to a residency and specialized. I'm not saying that you should take all of that training and throw it out the window because dentistry sucks. In fact, I think dentistry and clinical dentistry is an incredible career. I never regret for a second that I selected this career. So I'm not implying that you should hurry up and quit clinical dentistry. However, I do believe that if that is something that you want to do and to cut back hours and spend more time with your family and your body's getting a little tired, your hands and your joints are getting a little tired, you could cut back without taking a significant financial haircut. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So escaping the dental chair, believe it or not, is something that the vast majority of dentists that I talk to from early, mid to late career are all many, many dentists, the vast majority of dentists wish to accomplish this, decrease their clinical chair time. All right, so step number 1 in escaping the dental chair, and this might seem really, really obvious, but the first thing you have to do is calculate your personal monthly overhead, your burn rate. How much does it cost for you to live? You guys would be surprised. And many people maybe listening to the podcast right now might not know this number, but you'd be surprised how many people I talk to that have no idea how much it takes to run their household on a monthly basis. Now I'm talking about everything. I'm talking about private school. I'm talking about groceries. I'm talking about mortgage, car payments, gas, vacations. I'm talking about all the loan payments, all that stuff. How much does it cost? You're going to get one number if you take the time to track all this stuff down. That is a very, very important piece of data, a very important piece of information if you're going to structure yourself, your life, and your business to be able to decrease your chair time, maybe eliminate yourself as a clinician from your practice altogether. All right, step 2. We want to calculate the average overhead profitability and cash flow of your dental practice. Now, Jordan, you know that we are huge on systems and calculating cash flow. This is what separates us from a lot of coaching companies. We actually have an entire division within DSI that is dedicated to creating financial reports and tracking data, raw data, and turning it into digestible reports for all the dentists in our group. So everybody has at the tip of their tongue all of the categorizations in a typical P&L. They know if they're plus or minus, or if they're overspending, underspending. They know their total overhead. They know their total profitability. And if they aren't in an ideal spot, then we put them on the path and we give them some accountabilities to try to control those expenses so that we could decrease that overhead and increase that profitability as much as possible. Because if you think about it, guys, if you are eliminating yourself partially or completely as a producer, and let's just say that you're paying yourself just like the typical associate of 30% as a general dentist of your production, if that goes away, the only thing that you have to live off of to cover step one, which is your monthly personal overhead, is the profitability of the dental practice, right? So the profitability of the dental practice becomes much more important if you're going to choose to step away from clinical dentistry. Is it possible for a dentist to replace their clinical income with profit in the business? Indeed. Of course it is, or else I wouldn't be talking today. We have a lot of people inside DSI that have been able to decrease their clinical weeks to 2 days, a day and a half, 0 days per week, without taking a significant financial drop in pay. So step 2, calculate overhead, profitability, and cash flow. If you don't know how to do that, start listening to the podcast. I have all the information on there for free.
Mark, I like just on
Step
those two
2.
topics real
Go for
quick.
it. Yeah.
I think we talked when you came on my podcast, was it last week or recently? I love the percentage-based budget model for me personally, for my personal expenses, and then for running Boom Cloud, right? I like to know the using a percentage-based budget allows you to scale up or scale down if you need to, right? Hopefully it's always scaling up, right? Up into the right. But percentage-based
Up and to
budgets,
the right.
yeah. Percentage-based budgets are one of my favorite tools to use to just track your monthly personal overhead, run it like a business, run your household like a business. And then the same thing with my business. Like I'm looking at my percentage-based budget every day and every week with my leadership team, making sure as revenue goes up, we say, cool, where do we take that new revenue? Can we can we invest it in other areas of the business? And I think that's a good mechanism. But I'm sure you guys have a lot more robust tools with DSI. That's just kind of my 2 cents.
Yeah, point taken, and that's so true. Everything is a percentage of overall gross, revenue, net revenue, and to be able to trace how a dollar flows through a dental practice, so few people are able to do that. The average
So
overhead
important.
of a dental, the average overhead for a dental practice in the United States is 68 to 72%, excluding doctor compensation. So if you add the average 30% of doctor compensation to 68 to 72%, you're looking at the typical dental practice in the United States is 2% profitable to negative 2% profitable. So if you're running a dental practice and you're eliminating your own personal clinical compensation from that formula, you have negative 2% to live off of. You're not going to be able to live very long without spinning that handpiece. So these systems and the awareness of how money flows through your business is extremely important if you ever want to decrease the amount of clinical chair time that you are that you are experiencing. All right, step 4 of 7. You want to gradually. Oh, sorry, I didn't do step 3. Let's do step 3 first. Step 3 is ascend the belt classification ladder in the areas of systemization, overhead, leadership, and culture. Now, for a lot of you guys, if you haven't listened to the podcast or you've never been to one of my live events or haven't read one of my books, you have no idea what I'm talking about here as far as belt classification. Inside the dental success companies, we have a very similar ascension model to martial arts. You can come into our organization based on a number of different assessments as a no belt, a white belt, a blue belt, a brown belt, or a black belt. And I think everybody kind of understands how that works. A black belt would be considered a master, somebody that's an expert in their field. A brown belt, near expert. A blue belt, intermediate, and a white belt is a beginner. And there's no shame in being a beginner. It's just where all black belts start is as a white belt. And the way that we calculate and award these belts is based on a number of different assessments. We have a leadership assessment. We have a cultural assessment for the dental practice. We have a systemization assessment, and then we have an overhead profitability and cash flow assessment. So once you get to the level of black belt, you are very systemized. You have delegated most of the low level activities to people on your team. you are only focusing on high level activities and that includes all the duties of a CEO, which includes how to grow the business, how to incorporate high levels of leadership and culture into your organization, et cetera. So as you are eliminating hours at the clinical with the clinical hat on, you are increasing your hours as a CEO of the dental practice. So step 3 then is to become a more sophisticated business owner and ascend from that no belt to white belt to blue belt to brown belt to black belt. And that basically is the entire framework and format of the dental success companies, is getting people to that expert level, to that black belt level. And once you are at that black belt level, you have so much more flexibility and so much more likelihood that you can just walk away from the dental chair completely as a clinician, or at the very least, significantly decrease the hours that you're working at the chair. Step 4, gradually replace your production income with additional providers. Okay, so there's 2 different ways that value is derived in a dental practice. You have equity, which is the overall value of the dental practice minus the expenses, okay? And you have cash flow. So cash flow is derived by producing dentistry or providing dental services, okay? So if you are going to grow the equity of a dental practice, the value of a dental practice, you have to produce more dentistry and grow on a regular basis, okay? So if you are going to remove yourself as a provider within the dental practice, it would be wise to replace your production with a different provider. Now, if you are a mega producer and you have the capacity for it within your physical facility, sometimes it takes 1.5 providers to replace yourself. Sometimes it takes 2. On rare occasions, I've seen it takes 3 to cover the production of a super producer. But whatever it is, you have to figure out how you're going to cover your production in order to keep the value and equity of this dental practice. Okay. So obviously, if you're going to step away and you want to maintain the value of the dental practice, all of the dentistry that you're producing has to then be produced by somebody else. I know this is super obvious, but it needs to be mentioned. Step 5 out of 7. As you liberate yourself from a full-time clinical schedule, you need to spend additional time in executive level activities. So this is what we talked about, how you're converting yourself from a technician / clinician, and you are elevating to managerial, executive, and then CEO level position within the dental practice. You are the person that is guiding this practice. You're leading this practice. You are in charge of initiatives for growth. You are able to take a higher view, a 10,000-foot view of the practice. You have people like department leads, office managers, regional managers, potentially, COOs, CFOs. At some point, you're going to have an entire executive level team if you scale to that size. And these are the people that you're going to be in charge of for the dental practice. And that's where the big decisions need to be made. You guys may or may not feel this, but wearing all the hats as a dental practice owner and the primary clinician within a dental practice leaves very little time for visionary stuff, for strategizing how to maximize the size of your dental practice, strategizing what to do with excess capital, strategizing if this is what you want, how to increase the physical footprint of the facility to continue to scale or get into multiple practice ownership. It's nearly impossible if you're doing 5 days a week of 8 hours a day at the dental chair to have time at all for any strategy. And this is what you're going to be able to do. This is what this extra time is going to afford you if you structure this organization the right way. Step 6, continually develop internal talent while perpetually recruiting external talent. They say that 60% of people don't leave their positions because they want to be paid more. 60% of people leave their positions because of a toxic work culture or because they don't feel as though they're being respected or developed into a higher level position within the dental practice. There's a lot of people out there that are hungry for more development. They want to learn more. They want to contribute more to an organization. And it's already been proven that that is more important to people than $1 or $2 raise. So make sure that you're continually developing offering continuing education opportunities to the people that stand out within your organization, um, and uh, give them a path to leadership within your organization if they are worth it. And if they are loyal and they stay and they show that they are coachable and ambitious, find a path for them within your organization. And as you guys know, with the current workforce, we know that no matter how good of an organization you're running, there's going to be turnover. So make sure that you're continually recruiting for external talents as well. And then finally, step 7, rinse and repeat. Do this over and over and over again. Eventually, you will find a way to decrease your chair time, if not eliminate it altogether. Jordan, you have anything?
Yeah, I got a whole bunch.
All right. Hit me, dude. I know I was talking fast and a lot. Go ahead.
No, this is good. I love everything. Step 6, I wanted to focus a little bit on that. Like that seems to be the most challenging part of running any business. I've dealt with continuing to try and develop talent. I know you have, Mark. We've talked about this in the past. Creating core values that are important to your organization, I think, are key to this. This is what's really helped me not only develop our talent, but find our talent and get rid of talent that can't step up to our core values. So like a good example of that for me, Mark, would be we have several core values at Boom Cloud. We have, and we make weird names because we're weirdos here, I guess. I like to hire people who are creative psychos, who are performance maniacs, who are ownership junkies, and who are team rock stars, right? Those are our core values. And that's how we hire and fire and train up, right? Me and my brother, Justin, he's my twin brother, he's our chief operating officer. We operate off of EOS, which is Entrepreneur Operating System. It's a great framework for all businesses. But we have a method where we analyze our people we frequently call it every quarter. We look and we do a process that says, do they get their job role? Do they want it? And do they have the capacity to do it? And then we rate them on the core values, like the creative psycho and things like that. And if anyone's falling, in a negative seat or in a negative score, we then know how to coach them and level them up or replace them if necessary, right? If they don't get it or want it, that's an easy way to get people out of your practice or business, right? So that's one of my passions of running my organization, is developing talent. It's so fun, but also so stressful. I think that's why I'm starting to get gray hairs on the sides of my head.
Welcome to the club, brother.
Right, bro? And then the rinse and repeat, I wanted to talk about that from my perspective on what I've been able to do, at least with Boom Cloud. I'm not required to be in the Boom Cloud office every day. I come in every day because I love the people and I love developing them, right? And developing my relationships, and scaling the company, right? When my brother started with me years ago, the rinse and repeat process, right? And I think John Warlow talks about this in one of his books.
Built to sell. Yep.
Yeah, built to sell. He says, go leave on vacation and see what breaks. And then come back to maybe it's your office manager who's your operating person, or maybe it's somebody else who that skill set. Come back and have that operational person report to you what broke while you're gone, and then figure out how to fix it. I've done this like quarterly. I go out and I say, peace out, don't talk to me. And then I come back when I'm, after a week or 2 weeks, and I go sit down with my brother, who's our chief operating officer, and say, what broke? What did you need that you couldn't get when I was gone? And we make a list and we fix it. And we do that. We rinse and repeat that over time. And the business becomes less and less dependent on you when you do that. So that's been my framework. And I think I learned that from John Warlow's book, Built to Sell. So there you go. That's my 2 cents, Mark.
I love it. I love it. I like when you were doing the audit of, do they get it? Do they want it? Do they have the capacity for it? Ours is called UMS. Do they understand what success looks like for their position? Are they motivated to reach their full potential within this position? And do they have the skill set, the ability, the intelligence, or in our case, the clinical ability to get there? And if they can answer those 3 things, then we know that they're a good fit. Or if they're coachable enough to develop into the UMS, then we know that they're worth, investing time and effort into.
Yes.
Awesome.
Love it.
Okay, so again, here's a little bit more about the DSI belt classification if you guys are interested. Very, very quickly, I'll go through this. So we have uh, a number of different assessments. Like I said earlier, we have a systemization assessment where we go through every department in your office, and we have a certain scorecard that people fill out, and they self-assess how effective they are in systemization of all elements of their dental practice. Leadership is the same way. So leadership and culture are pretty right-brain subjective measurements. Like, how do you measure whether or not somebody is a good leader? How do you measure whether or not you have a strong culture within your dental office? Very, very subjective measures, but we've figured out a way to turn those subjective measures into more objective measures. So as far as leadership goes, we have a number of different assessments and questions that people can ask themselves and assess themselves on whether or not they're a strong leader. Like, are they crystal clear with their expectations? How do they uh, deliver, I guess, marching orders to their team? How effective are they at setting benchmarks and goals, things like that, on a scale of 1 to 10, right? So we figure out a way to turn these subjective measures in leadership into an objective score. Same thing with culture. Culture is really easy, actually, to determine what an objective score for culture. If you have um, a set of core values, most people should. Um, if you have a high level organization, you have a set of core values. This is how we do things here. This is how we treat one another. This is how we want to appear to the community, to our vendors, to one another, to the patients. Um, so, what are your core values? List them from 1 to 7. And then you take each individual person and you say, how completely does this particular team member embody each of these core values? So if the first core value is open and honest communication, and Janice is a gossiper and she's constantly talking behind other people's backs, and when you give her constructive criticism, she snaps at you and gets defensive. For that particular core value, I'd probably give Janice like a 1 out of 10. So you do that for each core value and the depth of the embodiment of each of those core values per person. And then they're going to get a score. They're going to get a culture score. And then you just take all the culture scores for all the different people on your team, and then you average those out. And that is your overall office culture score. So now we have these objective measures for subjective type um, traits within the dental office. So you're going to get a score from 0 to 100. If you have less than 40% in any of those assessments, then you are at a white belt level. And then same goes for overhead. Overhead is around 60%. We consider that white belt level overhead. We like to see it closer to 50% for black belt level. And so that is how you ascend up the ladder. You get more effective in systemization, leadership, and culture, and you get more efficient as far as the profitability and the overhead of your organization. So that's simply how the belt classification works within DSI. Any questions, Jordan? Comments?
No, I love it. I think you walked through this with me, I don't know, a few weeks ago. No, it was on the podcast. And I just
Yeah.
love how you look at this and how uh you not only use your I think the black belt people, when they become black belts, they actually help train the people coming, the practice owners coming in. And I think it's a really
Yeah.
cool system. I've always been a fan of what you've done in the industry here.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah.
Yeah.
All of our coaches are not,
Anytime,
our coaches
dude.
aren't, our coaches aren't ex-office managers. Our coaches aren't retired dentists. Our coaches are all people that have gone through, earned their black belt, um, became trained as coaches, and still currently own dental practices, still see patients, and they set aside time every week to coach their fellow members within DSI. So it's a very, very special and unique kind of structure of a
You know
company.
what's interesting? We kind of do the same thing at BoomCloud, except we use office managers that have grown membership programs before. In fact, we hire a lot
Mhm.
of people that were customers at one point, and now they're on our team.
Mhm.
Kind of like we don't call it the black belt type system that you guys do, but we do like to hire people that have been there, done that, and are able to teach and train others. I think it's the best model.
I love it. Yeah, I think it's a great model as well. We came up with this elite practice blueprint many, many years ago, over a decade ago, because the more people that I talk to in dentistry and their frustrations and what keeps them up at night and the things that they felt as though were very unique to their dental practice actually weren't all that unique. I have the unique privilege of being able to speak to hundreds of dentists every single month. And when I ask them kind of what their main objectives are, what their goals are, what they want to improve within their dental practice, what's going wrong in their dental practice, there's so many common themes, 6 to be exact. So I could categorize 99% of the worries of dental practice owners into these 6 main buckets. That's foundational principles, operational systemization, lifetime patient experience, how to acquire new patients, so new patient acquisition, human resources. That's probably the vast majority of everybody's worry, is dealing with the humans on their team, and then overhead and cash flow control. So the vast majority of people are concerned with these 6 main pillars. Some of them, all 6, some of them, 1 or 2. But here are the main kind of areas that we work on with our members inside DSI. And that is it, my friends. So we have an opportunity, or we have a kind of a special for people that are listening to this webinar tonight, to get a free 30-day test drive of DSN. We don't offer that to anybody else other than people that are on special webinars like this. And you'll also receive a manual of your choice. We have 7 different manuals inside DSN, 4 of which I already kind of mentioned because I was co-author in that. Addison Killeen, who's one of our incredible black belt coaches inside DSN, is also a prolific, incredible author. He puts our manuals together. So you get a manual of your choice and a 30-day trial run for DSN. Just scan this QR code, and we would love to see you in the network. For as far as, I didn't make a slide for this either, of course, Jordan, because I forgot. But if you guys want to reach out to me personally, just go to truedentalsuccess.com. That's my main website, or follow me on socials. Dr. Mark Costas on Instagram, Mark Costas in LinkedIn, and let's connect.
True
It was a pleasure
Dental.
to hang out.
Yeah, True Dental Success. I'm just chatting it.
.com.
.com.
Yeah.
TrueDentalSuccess.com. I've been there. Hopefully I typed it in right. Check out that True Dental Success.
Appreciate it.
Mark, what's your favorite manual that you guys are doing over there?
I mean, the dental operations manual is really cool just because a lot of people just don't have something like that. If you've ever read the book The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber,
Yes.
he was a huge influence in my entrepreneurial journey. He talks about in that book how important it is to have a "this is how we do things here" manual for your dental practice. Basically, an operating system. You know, all the major franchises have an operating system. Like if you buy a McDonald's franchise, you're going to get a series of 16 binders that are the operating system. Dunkin' Donuts, same thing. You know, CrossFit, same thing. So for your dental practice, you have to have a "this is how we do things here" document. And not just because, in fact, you don't want people to be walking around with these binders like a bunch of robots all day, every day. But what you want is some sort of parameter for what what success looks like for each position. And more importantly, if there happens to be turnover in any position, you could just kind of plug somebody right into the operating system and say, "this is how you perform your position." You can use that as an onboard and training document. It's so important. So that's probably my favorite one, but they're all good.
Yeah, now you're talking like my brother. He's all into the operational stuff. Like we like clarity when somebody get a new hire, right? We like to know what to do and how to find the processes. So yeah, that's a sweet book. Cool.
Yeah, man.
So I'm gonna just if you haven't scanned this, scan it right now, because I'm just gonna switch, but then I'll share it again here in a minute. I'm gonna leave the webinar on for a little bit, Mark. We have, let me present mine again. So once again, this is my reminder. After I'm done off this webinar, this deal's off. I don't know what you guys are doing, Mark, for timing wise. I need to get my chat going here. Here is just a reminder what we're going. We've already had some practices sign up. Welcome to Boom Cloud. For those of you who signed up, I'm so excited for you guys to be hanging out with us and growing your membership program. So Just as a reminder, that's what we're offering it there. If you click the link, it'll show a video and it repeats this a little bit better than my slide. So click that. I'm going to leave this deal is for this webinar only. Same thing with you, Mark. I've got your slide here. So I think this is the same one. This is the slide.
Yeah, it's a much nicer one.
Yeah, I see the manuals behind the QR code here. So if after I changed it, if you didn't get a chance to scan the QR code, scan that again for Mark and with his team. Ashley or anyone on Mark's team, is there a URL you guys can put in the chat that's specifically this offer? If not, no worries. I'll leave it on. Is right above yours. Oh, thanks, Ashley. You rock. See, I don't even know why I asked you. Whenever we need something, it's already done. You're amazing, Ashley.
She's like, I refuse.
Yeah, so click the links
Awesome.
in the chat. Go sign up for DSN. Well, a lot of our customers use DSN. It's awesome. Mark and his team and everyone involved in DSN is such an awesome resource. You know, I've spent a lot of time over the years getting to know Mark and your team, and I absolutely love everyone that I've met from your team. So go sign up for DSN, sign up for Boom Cloud. Let's all kick ass together in the dental industry and have a good time. So go click our link, sign up for the offers, and we really appreciate you guys hanging out with us this evening. And we'll probably do some more of these in the future. So be looking for our next webinar that we're doing together. With that said, we hope you guys have a rocking evening and have fun signing up for DSN and Boom Cloud.
Thanks, Jordan. That was awesome, man.
Yeah, this has been recorded, so we'll make sure that the people that couldn't attend receive a recording. And if you want to rewatch it, of course, you can. We'll be processing the video tonight and hopefully launching it out tomorrow to everyone who registered. So you'll get a chance to see everything again. So cool. All right, Mark.
All right.
So good having you and seeing you again today.
Thanks, buddy.
I'm going to end the recording. Everyone have a rocking night and be looking for our email blast for the replay. Okay. Peace.